just remember to include this part as well. Part 2 would be just to explain that there were several different people throughout the entire project that I've met at different points, different people, who have told me that, we've alluded to this in the first video, that this logo or this symbol reminds them of other symbols. Okay? And the thing is that I agree, because those symbols are really taken from this symbol. The Aleph itself is the symbol of unity, which is the first symbol, numerically 1. It's about unity, it's about oneness, which could show these two opposing sides, but yet they're connected in the middle, they're united. Vav is the connecting symbol, and this is like an upside down Vav, according to the simple understanding right now. And so it's showing that even though there's two opposites, it's still two sides of one thing. They're two halves of one thing. And so Aleph has all of these the beauty and the beautiful ideas that then show and depict balance and at the same time differentiation. It's really where the division sign comes from, a line with two dots on either side, because that which that which connects two things can also divide them if it stops connecting them actively, and all these kinds of things. And so really the Aleph is supposed to be depicting that balance of everything, and the ability to differentiate between different things, and having full wisdom, understanding, knowledge to be able to fully comprehend Hashem's Torahs. So the thing is that other symbols, I think, so not only that, but the symbol that was used and misused by evil people, God forbid, was actually taken from the Indian tradition, which is called something else. But that symbol also was slightly different, and it had 4 extra dots. And again, I don't know what that represents, but either way, that was also a good positive symbol that they ruined. But I would say then that all the symbols themselves find their source and root at these symbols, not because who am I to say such a thing, but these are the symbols that are transmitted, that Hashem initially created and then created reality with. These predate creation. How do you make such a claim? Is just you see the symbols in creation. You see the concepts in creation. Everything here, these are symbols of truth, and so they're true on every level, and they depict all these different truths. And the more you study them, the more you understand what the claim everyone who transmits these symbols is that this was copied and never originated by any single man. Nobody can come up with these interconnections and beautiful symbols that are actually seen in reality. For example, like this example of an etz, a tree, when God spoke, and what is speech? Uniting the different symbols. So when God said, let there be an etz, a tree, it's as if literally the symbol ayin, it's a 2-symbol word, an ayin and a tzadi, really a tzadi, but a tzadi sofit, a final form, so it, instead of being bent, it straightens up. So you have an etz. This is how you say tree in Hebrew. Ayin tzadi, pronounced etz. An etz looks exactly like what an etz looks like. It's as if literally when God speaks and creates, the symbols themselves unite in code for reality. And the same thing with the roots of the tree, which is called shoresh, shin, resh, shin. And shoresh looks exactly like the roots of a tree. Okay, and so it's all visual, it's all depicting truths, as we saw with the symbol pei in the previous video as well. But the more and more we go through this list, we'll be referencing this Aleph Bet chart that you could find always at Bezrat Hashem at ahava.org/the real Aleph Bet. The real Aleph Bet meaning the Aleph Bet as they are copied perfectly, meticulously, with all of the nuances from an authentic scroll. If it's sloppy, it's not Ktav Ashurit, so it must be seen in the original, and that's how we need to do it. Sorry, I just don't want that siren back on, on playback, and for the listeners as well. Just, thank God everything's all right. But yeah. So here we go. And so our mission really, or what we're trying to do, is not let the bad people ruin what is a good holy symbol and have it then remain forever associated with their evil actions, because that would just ruin it. No, we have to forget them and their evil and then restore the symbol and come back to the real symbols of the Aleph-Bet, and then we will see God's truth, the evidence of God, the actual divinity. In the language of Shir HaShirim is that once we see the Aleph-Bet, we'll remember that divinity exists. We'll remember God's goodness and divinity, and then we'll naturally just want to be close with the infinite being and to distance from any of these stupid false gods and false promises of people and all these kinds of things. And so we also said in that initial video, if there could be movements in the world for such evil like that, then the flip side, the Aleph, then there can be movements in the world for such good, if not so much greater. The power of good will always win. It wins in the movies because movies really are supposed to or imitate reality and follow reality, but the good will win in the end. And the truth will come out in the end. In the lesson of the Aleph-Bet, as we saw, that Sheker, the symbols of Sheker, are bunched up just before the final symbol, Tav, which depicts truth that stands and endures the test of time and all the questions thrown at it. It is true. And Sheker, lies, are going to fall in the end. So they all bunch up, and it's the craziest thing just before the final revelation of the truth. And as we understand now, the truth is only in Hebrew, because truth is an English word, but truth is trying to translate the word emet, which is Aleph Mem Tav, the first symbol, the middle symbol, the last symbol of the Aleph-Bet, pointing that emet, the word for truth, emet, is pointing to the entire system of the Aleph-Bet, all the way through. So B'ezrat Hashem, again, we're going to all see this and experience this just like Rabbi Akiva started at 40. And this is exactly what Ahava, Echad, and these sources, what we aim to do here today, tonight, wherever we find ourselves, and to connect with the truth and to really understand these most basic sources and transmit them onward to our families, to our friends, to everybody, as our sages transmit. And we're going to make a separate video crediting all the sages. Of course, Rabbi Kaplan, Rab Moshe Shapir Zatzal, Rab Zamir Cohen, Rabbi Ram Kalimi, who showed me Rab Moshe Shapir Zatzal, and Rabbi Trugman via Rabbi Ginsburg. But again, I would obviously credit the sages every single time, but for the listener, to make it easy for the listener, I'm going to credit it once, and then we'll be able to see that in the separate video. But I try to always credit, obviously, whenever we're quoting from a source. So I think that covers the logo for now. There are more like deeper teachings, but we will see that, and let's continue onwards to the next section, which will be understanding what does it mean that God elevated Hebrew from all the languages on earth. What's the difference between Hebrew, real Hebrew, not modern Hebrew, but real biblical Hebrew, and the rest of the languages on earth. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.